Ma'am, first and foremost, parents are facing lot of behavior problem, both parents as well as teachers. They have lot of issues that, ma'am, my child is good at home, but teachers are telling complaints at this class. It's not a complaint, but they think as negative. So how to get rid of this, ma'am?
It doesn't mean that if they behave in a certain way in one place, they'll behave the same way in another place. Each place, each person, each context shapes our behavior. Now, for example, when you go into a church or you go into a temple or you go into a mosque, nobody goes there and dances because they understand that this is a place that is sacred, you have to stay silent because it's modeled for them. Right? Similarly, when you go into a restaurant, you immediately know you can talk loudly, you can do, it depends on where you are. But if you're in a fine dine, you realize that you have to be very silent, you can't talk here. A lot of people, are listening to the conversation and so on. So when parents or teachers come and tell me that there is a behavior problem, I usually ask, what structure have you set there? Does the child know what the rules here are? Does the child know that this can be done and these are not allowed? And is the adult who is handling the child at that point consistent? When I say consistent, do you have the same set of rules always? One day you're saying that you can't leave the shoes here, next day you leave your shoes there. Does the child have this kind of inconsistency? Because a behavior problem, as we call it, usually can be because of poor structure and poor modeling from the part of the adult. Because a child is not like as soon as they're born with all the rules to deal with society, a classroom, a home. They learn because of an interaction with the adult who's handling them. So when a parent or a teacher says behavior problem, I would ask 3 basic questions. Do you notice that there is a lack of structure? Which means the rules are not clear, the timings are not clear, and you don't let the child know that this can be and this cannot be done. 2, do you realize that there are no rules or that the rules are very ambiguous, meaning today you mean this, tomorrow you mean something else. Today you say this, but the adults are doing the opposite. Is there an ambiguity? 3rd, is the communication indirect? Do you tell the child what you want, or do you say things like, you keep doing this, I'll leave you and go away? Or do you keep doing this, you're the worst child I've seen? By saying you're the worst child I've seen, do you really let the child know what he or she should do? Okay, and very often as adults, we don't realize that we are giving indirect messages to the child doesn't understand it, and they don't know what is expected of them. So if you say this behavior problems need to be changed, 1, routines and structure need to be very clear. 2, the way we communicate needs to be very direct. Instead of doing a lot of indirect, roundabout communication, let the child know this is what I expect, and this is what I would like, and this is how I will be happy if you are able to do this for me. Okay? You need to make these communication structures very, very clear. 3rd, use of threats, bribes, punishment, negative statements do not become corrective in any way. In fact, they give lot more weaknesses to the child, and the child tends to over a period exploit these same statements. Later on he'll say, you told me I'm lazy, I don't need to do it. They'll use your own statements against you because you were setting that right from day one. And most important is consistency. As an adult, is your behavior consistent? Today I allow something, tomorrow I don't allow something. I'm not consistent as an adult.
First we have to be firm, and then
first the rules need to be clear, the communication needs to be direct, and then we need to be consistent. If these 3 are taken care of, behavior problems actually disappear.
With this age, like 4 and 5, is it possible to do this with the age of 4 and 5?
Do you know that children learn at the womb?
No.
Do you know that children learn when they are 6 months old? At one point, when they listen to the mother's voice.
Is this age right for them to mold them? Or
so when would you like to start? And I'm asking you this.
No, because this is how the parents ask. That is the reason I have put here. Is this the right person? Or when he is growing, suddenly obviously they may learn.
You can't wait till 13 years to suddenly say, okay, from today I'm going to be a strict parent, which is what has happened to many adolescents, because a parent did not set any rule structure till the child was 13. Suddenly at 13 said, you should not speak to this one, you should not go there, you come back home at 6 o'clock. You can't suddenly impose rules. So structure and routine always starts at birth. So as a mother, when the feed routine is very regular, when the toileting habits are very clearly set, the child has a better advantage, or rather has an advantage over other children, because routine helps the brain to pick up structure later on at a very, very basic level. Second, consistency means I am also predictable as an adult. Child knows when I go to my mother or my father, they are going to be supportive, and not one day supportive, one day arrogant or rude or hurtful. When I am able to set this right from day one, birth itself is a good time to start. You can't wait till the child is 15 years to suddenly start new behaviors. If you set this as part of your routine right from day one, children develop without behavior problems.
Then most of the parents have the doubt that how will children get boosted up with the interest. Many are not interested to come school. They are very lazy to get up. They are very lazy to get up. Just parents push them. Go today school. Saturday, Sunday holiday. That time we can stay. So how to get interested, ma'am? Bring them.
See, and this is not an interest issue. Number one, again, when you're saying parents are pushing the child, it means that the child was never given an opportunity to become independent.
Okay.
Right? So right from day one, if I was the one waking up the child, I was the one brushing the teeth for them, I was the one giving the bath, I was the one feeding them, I was the one putting the bag, sending them to the bus stop, I was doing all of this without helping the child pick up autonomy or freedom to develop their own skills, naturally they will not have any motivation to come to school. Because autonomy, or the ability to independently function, is very important for the child to develop interests around them. Because if I don't make the child aware of what they need to do, how will they become interested in it? So awareness comes only when I allow the child to do, to fail, and to also rectify mistakes. You don't need to have perfection at that level. Second, when they start experimenting, they start realizing I like this, I don't like this. Right? Yes. And then when it comes to hobbies, usually interests, they also want to, see is the child good in sports, aptitude and hobbies. I would always ask parents, till at least the age of 7, allow them the exposure to many different things. Let them, for example, have an opportunity to learn music, to learn drawing, to learn sport, and let them go through this without a regimental drill. It's not like I've paid the fees for 1 year, so you must send the child. Send the child, let them go, if they have, for example, Sunday school and they're singing, let the child go and enjoy it. Okay, from the temple, they're doing some annadanam, so let them go there and do that. Let children have different exposure, because without exposure, you will never be able to find out what is an aptitude, what's an interest, and to have them motivated in that.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, now coming up to the food habits, it's a big task for parents as well as teachers. So what do you tell about the food habits, ma'am?
Food habits are always set only at home. It is not the role of the teacher. Please underline this in your rule book if you can, because some habits are set only at home, some habits are set only in school, and there will be some habits which can be done in both places. Food habits are set at home. Please underline this. Sure. Why I am saying this is because many parents, especially young parents now, I notice that they tend to outsource this food habit thing to the school. Whatever the vegetables they don't eat at home, I will immediately pack it up in the school lunch so that the teacher will somehow force feed the child. This is not how it's done, because the child also goes through the trauma of having to adjust in a new place and eat a food they don't like.
That's true, ma'am.
Right? So the parent needs to set sleep habits first before eating habits. They're very closely connected because they're two physiological needs. Sure. If the eating habits are not well developed and the child is woken up without having rested well, they are not going to feel hungry enough to eat. Most parents allow children to play with a gadget till 11 o'clock. They sleep from say 11 o'clock to 5:30, 6 because they have to take a bus at 7 o'clock. So they have just one glass of milk and run to school, etc. So the parent has not set these habits. If parents really want good eating habits to start, the first thing will be starting with the sleep habits. Get children to bed earlier. Let them have a good restful 10 to 12 hours of sleep in the night, because when they have rested well, it's easier to develop new habits. Having said this, the second habit will be toilet habits. These are also set at home, never in school. Okay, and I'm sure you have parents now sending children in diapers saying, we've not trained. These are again things that are developed only at home. Because a child can...
habit is perfect, then
it becomes easier to develop the other two. That's really how it works. And then if they start outsourcing this to school, children start developing a lot more anxiety, because in a new place to go and use the toilet is a very stressful experience for a child, right? In a new place to suddenly eat a food that I've never eaten at home is very stressful for the child. So these must be set at home, and how the parent can bring this is that they need to have regular eating habits, which means I eat at 9, then I eat at 12, so they have to set a timetable for their family. Second is that they need to understand that children eat small quantities and they must know how to finish those.
Thing, ma'am, they fully fill in the box and send it to the school, and the child starts crying, no mama will beat, no mama will beat, I have to finish the box. Forcefully they eat. Some after eating forcefully
They vomit as well. See, you must realize that limited quantity is very, very important. At this age, the quality of the food is more important than the quantity. And this is something parents need to understand. I normally suggest, see, in this age group, one idli is what how most children can eat. More than that, children don't have an appetite. In rural India, yes, because children are more physically active, I find that they can eat more. But urban areas, when they're more indoors and confined indoors, one idli, one vada, this is how much they can actually eat. And if you balance it, it should have a good balance of carbohydrate, protein and vitamin. When these are there, the complementary enzymes help them understand hunger. It helps food digest faster. It also helps them understand hunger when it comes up, because young children don't differentiate hunger and thirst. They get little confused between the two, and this is why regular habits are very, very important. And in between the 3 hours, if the child does say I'm hungry, a fruit, a small piece of a fruit is sufficient, because it will help them tide over till the next meal. Never use milk as a full meal. Many parents, because the children don't eat, they tend to give milk as one full meal. It is a complex protein, yes, but it's not sufficient for all the work they'll be doing. And so it's very important for parents to ensure that all the textures and tastes are covered during the day. They should be able to eat a hard texture, something soft, something that's like a halwa. It should be there, and all the tastes also should be taken care of, because neurologically these are all multisensory stimulations which overall help with good health. And unless the parent follows all these rules, and I've seen parents who give Maggi noodles thrice a day and things like that, and you've probably seen them in school as well. If you don't allow the child to experiment with food, all through they remain picky eaters and it becomes a problem. Okay, so in terms of rules, number 1, regularity of your habits. 2, limited quantity, and they learn to finish. And all textures and tastes to be covered during one day, because when they start these rules, eating habits become very easy. And the most important for this generation, no gadget along with food. If the child is eating, they focus only on food, and you can have a conversation but not a gadget. These would be simple rules you can use for eating.
Some parents tell, ma'am, my child at home is very active, very this thing, whatever, he's good in dancing, everything, but why don't he's confident in school? So where is that confidence lacking, ma'am?
Children will take at least 6 to 8 months to develop something in a new place. Many parents bring them on the first day in LKG.
They'll tell they have stage fear. I don't know why. At home she dances very well in front of us. She gives a good speech and she's good in everything. But here, once she go on the stage, either it might be stage fear or she lack of.
See, and here it's not so much a problem with the child as much as it was with the parent. Over expectation, over anxiety, and this competitive spirit that they have is more a parental issue than with the child having stage fear. If you actually allow children on stage, they will enjoy themselves. But when you tell a child you must win, or you look here, you do this step, you restrict their freedom, that's when children have a problem. Because at that age, they understand only possibilities. They are not scared of the stage, but they're scared of having to face the consequences of an angry parent. I've seen some reality shows on TV where the child is not able to sing and the mother faints on that side. And usually, I feel like treating the mother, because the child only sang.
Normal.
Yes. It's really a parental thing that needs to change here, not a child.
That is what now a lot of queries, ma'am. Why my child is not winning? Why that child is winning? It's a competitive between parents, not the...
It's only the parents. Children enjoy the stage. Children enjoy playing. Children enjoy music. Children enjoy dancing till the adult comes and destroys it. So if you can really do something, I would ask you not to have competitions so that all the parents stop competing with each other and children can be children. But I know, that doesn't happen in the school setting sometimes. But ideally speaking, children don't have fears till parents introduce them.
That's true, ma'am. Ma'am, one more thing. What do you think about the slow writers? Parents complain, my child is always writing slow, he's very slow in writing, very slow in learning. All such problems, how can we face that?
I can't give you one answer because there are so many conditions that can lead to a child having challenges in writing. I don't believe in speed of writing as a quality of writing. There can be children who write slowly but write very well. And I would rather focus on children who can think than on children who can write, because thinking is more important than just copying. But having said this, I would like you to understand that if a child has a skill, they will do it. If they don't have a skill, they will have to take time to develop the skill. So the slow writing, I would not use it as a term, but I would say he's developing a skill. And you need to give sufficient time and support as a teacher or as a parent to support them to develop the skill. By putting a child down, pairing them up with a child who does better, we don't actually solve the problem. Writing has a muscular component, so if you can work on the muscular component by giving simple fine motor activities, that's good. Writing has an intellectual visual component, right? Yes. A visual component, if you can work on that. So if it's really something very severe, then I would ask you to refer the child to an occupational therapist who can work on this. But if it's just a child who's learning a skill, is developing how to use muscle to develop a shape, I would just give it time and support, because that would make a bigger difference than just labeling them slow writers, referring them to a clinical psychologist, making an unnecessary diagnosis, and then labeling the child and suppressing them.
How about learning, ma'am?
In terms of learning also, with anything, if I have the skill, I'll do it. Now, if you know how to make a sambar, you will make it, right? Sure. If you don't know how to make sambar and I just give you a vessel, what will you do?
I will not.
You will not do it. And what will you do? You will look for many cues, like you will do it much slower. Yes, you look at it on YouTube.
I'm also addicted to gadget, I think.
I think you need to change then. But honestly, what I would do is, if I know something, I'll do it.
Sure, ma'am.
If I don't know something, I'll take time to learn it. So as a teacher and as a parent, if I can understand and I develop an attitude saying, the child is not really slow but is developing a skill, I will have a better opportunity to support them so that they're able to excel at that skill.
Will this gadget distracts them, ma'am, learning process? Or
Gadgets destroy learning. Not even distracts, it destroys. And why I'm saying this is because when children are addicted to gadget, it reduces the growth of the prefrontal cortex in the brain, which is required for all higher order processing of information, including problem solving. Secondly, when children are addicted to gadgets, it deprives them of multisensory learning, which is the most important form of learning at this age group. Third, when children are addicted to gadgets, they start fixing on a particular object. We call it the ocular lock. It cuts out the auditory component of learning. And I can go on and on and on about even the neurotransmitters in the brain, which are different when a child is gadget addicted and when a child plays outdoor. So there are so many negatives in gadgets. So my request to parents is to limit that and to increase human interaction.
because now when children are not learning, they use the gadgets, they put the animated stories or rhymes or whatever it is, and they give to children so that children will learn very fast.
It doesn't
just
really
doesn't
work.
really,
It doesn't really
that is what that's.
See, again, the child will learn it in one situation. They won't be able to generalize it. We call it a splinter skill. Splinter skills can be developed very easily. I know how to do it here, but I can't do it there. And these parents will come to you in the parents' meeting and say, ma'am, he's doing it at home, only with you he's not doing it. It means it's not become a skill. The child has just learned to repeat something the parent is teaching. It's not yet become a skill.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much for spending a valuable time with us, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.